the girl cried out. But this is a deserted island. Except for her dying companion, there was no one around. The girl had no choice but to fight back her fear. She pulls the coral out of her companion's stomach. She took off her scarf and let him cover himself. Then she ran out to get him some water. Luckily, there were fallen coconuts all over the place. She picks up a sharp stone from the ground. She hit the coconuts as hard as she could. She hit it as hard as she could. She made a big hole in the coconut. Coconut juice flows out. She runs to her companion with the coconut in her hand. But it was too late. He had already bled to death. The girl looked out to sea. Her mind was blank and she didn't know what to do. After realizing her situation, the girl began to walk around the island, hoping to find a way off. But she soon realized that the island was surrounded by sea. There was no escape. To survive, she walked through the dense jungle, in search of water and food. She found a bag. She rushed over to check it out, but there were only a few dusty clothes inside. After some searching, she found only a box of matches that could be of use to her. Out of the jungle, a hollowed-out tree trunk. It attracted her attention. She also heard a strange noise in the hole. She stepped forward cautiously. Just as she stooped down to examine it, suddenly a bird flew out and startled her. It rained heavily during the night. The girl put a coconut kernel and a water bottle on the ground to collect the rainwater. She spent the night hiding under the leaves of a tree. The next day there were many stranded fish on the beach. The girl collects them all in a backpack. This solves the problem of food. But a half-dozen sharks in front of her made her uneasy. The shark's head was deeply scarred. It appeared to have been attacked by the claws of some kind of creature. The girl realized that this deserted island might not be safe. She remembered that her mate's body was still lying on the beach. So she dug a hole and buried her mate. What she didn't realize, the next day the girl was horrified. Something had dug up her mate's body and eaten it. She looked around in fear. She found a tree branch and sharpened it with a stone to make a spear for defense. It was getting dark. The girl lit a fire and sat by it. She held the spear tightly in her hand. Suddenly there was a roar. The girl looked up and realized it was a plane passing by. She immediately took out her flare gun and fired it into the sky. But the flare took a long time to glow red. The girl waved desperately, but the plane had already flown away. When the flare landed, the girl was horrified. A humanoid creature had emerged from the sea. The girl overheard a horrible creature appearing on the sea. She runs into the jungle and hides. A low roar followed. The girl was so scared she couldn't breathe. Luckily, the creature didn't notice her and disappeared. The next day, the girl decided to see what kind of creature it was. She went to the reef and grabbed a bucket of small fish. She smashed them up and dumped them in the sea. The smell of blood soon attracted a shark. With her spear in hand, the girl took her chance and stabbed it. She hits it. The girl cheers. Unfortunately, there's no audience. Then the girl carries the shark to shore. She ties a rope around it and hangs it from a tree. She hid in a sandbox and watched from afar. Soon the monster appeared. A mermaid monster. The girl watched as it dragged the shark away and soon disappeared. The sound of an aeroplane roared from the sky. The girl was about to get up and go out. Suddenly the mermaid appeared before her eyes. The girl was trembling with fear. She covered her mouth tightly and didn't dare make a sound. Luckily, the mermaid left soon after. As soon as it was light, the girl found a piece of canvas. She used 2 trees to build a hammock. She thought she'd be safe sleeping up there. But when it got dark, something happened. The girl was pulled down by a mermaid. Her survival instincts made her get up from the ground. She turned and ran as far as she could. The mermaid could not outrun the human on land. It jumped back into the water to catch up. Then she leapt up and stood in front of the girl. The girl picked up her spear and stabbed the mermaid. The mermaid backhanded the girl and knocked her off her feet. Before she could get up, the mermaid swung again and sent her flying a few meters away. The girl thought she was going to die this time, but the mermaid suddenly disappeared. It's afraid of lightning. There was a flash of lightning at the same time as the girl. It scared the mermaid away. The girl was saved. The next day, the girl was sitting on the beach to take care of her wound. Suddenly, she spotted a life raft floating in the distance. She was overjoyed. She rushed into the water, swimming desperately in the direction of the raft. When she reached it, she was surprised to find her boyfriend and best friend were on the raft. They hadn't died in the crash. When she got to shore, she served them grilled fish. She told them about the island. She hoped that the 3 of them could leave the island together as soon as possible. But the boyfriend and his girlfriend had been at sea for 10 days. They've only just arrived on land. They don't want to leave. They are determined to stay here and wait for rescue. Besides, They didn't believe in the existence of monsters on the island. The girl could not persuade them, so she decided to leave alone. She pushed the raft into the sea when they weren't looking, but they found her. They rushed over to her. The boyfriend held the girl in his arms. The best friend pulls her legs and tries to pull him out. The girl kicked him down. The best friend got angry and swatted her with an oar. When she woke up, the girl found her hands tied to a tree. It was already dark. Soon both of them will pay the price for their behavior. The girl finds herself tied to a tree by her boyfriend. She desperately asks him to release her. Suddenly there is a scream in the distance. The boyfriend immediately grabs a torch and rushes over. He saw his best friend being grabbed by a mermaid beast. The man raises the torch and slams it down on the mermaid. The mermaid dropped his girlfriend. The mermaid drops her. It slaps the man with a backhanded blow. Then it turned and jumped into the sea to drag her down. By the time the girl was free of the rope, the mermaid had already disappeared. The girl rushed away with her boyfriend, who was already scared out of his wits. The next day he spent the night hiding in a tree. His legs were still shaking. He came down and pushed the valve to get off the island. But not long after, he suddenly saw a dark figure in the water. Suddenly he saw a dark figure floating in the water. The man shuddered. Then a hand came out of the sea. It almost caught him. The girl put down her tent and zipped it up. The mermaid attacked the bottom of the valve. It cut a hole in the bottom with its claws. The head suddenly came up. The girl kicks it in the head. The man took out his flare gun. He fired a shot at the mermaid. The mermaid is hit and dives into the water. The girl was so relieved that she thought she was safe. Suddenly she was dragged off the boat by the mermaid. In a panic, the girl pulled out a knife and stabbed the mermaid. The mermaid let go of her hand at the pain, but it didn't give up and turned on the man. The man had no time to react. The mermaid grabbed him and dragged him into the black hole. The girl surfaced and climbed to the shore. There was nothing but hatred in her eyes. There was no place to hide, so she faced it head on. So she started making weapons and building piles of wood, filling them with hay and connecting them together. When everything was ready, the girl placed a pile of food in the center to attract the mermaids. And so it came to pass at night. The mermaids crept up to the food. The girl quickly set fire to the graves. The fire surrounded the mermaid. Before the mermaid can react, the girl quickly strikes the mermaid with a long, sharp thrust. Then she runs away. Then she grabbed her weapon. When the prey is near, she rushes forward. She stabbed the mermaid with a wooden stick, but the mermaid was pinned to the ground within a few strikes. The girl kept fighting back. The mermaid became angry and lifted the girl up. The girl took advantage of the situation. She stabbed the mermaid in the chest. The mermaid finally let go. The girl ran out of the forest. She grabbed the spear she had prepared and confronted the mermaid. The mermaid hissed and fell to the ground. The girl went forward to make a few more cuts. The mermaid was successfully destroyed.